I moved across the country to chase my dream, and I dropped out of college. I sacrificed being with my family. I missed my brother's birthday just last week. And I want to give you guys some insights that I've been going through and that I've been dealing with since moving down here. And it's only been a week or so now. But I mean, I feel like I've experienced more this week and learned more about myself this week than I have in an entire year of self development, self improvement, all this stuff that really is misunderstood. And I just want to give some good points that I've been thinking about lately. So, look, if you want to subscribe, if you want to do all this stuff, this is more just for me, just to document. But if I can give you value, that's great too. So, let's start off with just the journey in general. First off, I left about 5 days ago now, and it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. I've been through a lot in my life, and it's just a journey. I mean, this is just life for you. People have it worse than me, and some people don't have it worse than me, but there are a lot of things I've been through in my life, and this was one of the hardest things because it felt like everything I knew got stripped away that day, the day that I left. And in some ways that's good because some of these beliefs I used to have, some of these beliefs that I needed to destroy weren't going to get destroyed in my hometown where I was just trying to get rich in my bedroom and escape the matrix, all of that stuff. But I needed to move because I kept going back to who I was. And self-improvement in itself is good, but it doesn't work unless if you actually make huge changes in your life. And just trying to improve in my hometown wasn't working because everybody knew or had a perspective of who I was, and that hindered me a lot. It made me perform in a way that everybody else thought I was. So I used to be like this big nerd. I used to, and I'm still a nerd, honestly. It's not a bad thing, but I used to be this fat kid who, gooned all day and stuff. And everything kind of like I did improve in my life. I've changed a lot. I've improved my looks. My physique is a lot better than it used to be. I started training MMA, preparing for a fight that I hope to do at the end of the year. But mentally, it was so taxing just staying in my hometown because it always felt like I was battling the old version of myself every single day, and I would always give into that. I would always give in to my old self in some shape, way, or form. So, eating bad foods, skipping gym sessions, skipping MMA. I mean, even just like lying and stuff. I used to be a big liar, and sometimes I would catch myself doing that and not being as honest as I should be because that's who I used to be, and I couldn't deal with that anymore. And so I decided that I needed to actually make a big change in my life. So I moved to Florida from Kansas. I lived in Kansas before, but I moved to Florida this week, and it's been a journey. I went through a lot of battles on my way down here, just mentally, and you live and you learn, I mean, there's really, until death, really nothing can defeat you. And even at that death, you go into the kingdom of God. So once you have that perspective in your life, and once I realized that, things started to really calm down for me mentally. I've started living in a better state since then. And even though what do I want to say here? But even though you might be scared about a certain thing you're going through, there's always a way to get out of it. And most people just give up and go back to their old selves to get out of it, but there's always a way to push through it and go the other way and grow. And a lot of people can't handle that. They can't handle the fact that you can push through, but you're sacrificing the comfort and the stability of going back to your old ways. Because when you have to push through, you don't know what the future is. You have an idea of what it is, but you don't know. It's not guaranteed. So that's why people will start entrepreneurship or start a business or something, and they get so motivated. They do it for, maybe a year, and then things get bad, and they just go back and go to college, or they give up, essentially. And I'm not saying that living a normal life is a bad thing. I don't care if you do. I don't care if you work a 9 to 5. I don't see you as a worse person than me necessarily, because we are all human, and I don't base people off of their decisions necessarily. Sometimes I do. I don't hang around like people that will smoke, do drugs and stuff like that. And I don't really hang around people that don't have the same mindset as me. But if you live a 9 to 5 life, like, fair enough, man. Fair enough. It's not for me. I'd rather go down the business route, and I will go down the business route. But a lot of people will, especially in like from the Andrew Tate glazers that still exist, they think that people are just terrible for living a normal life. But in reality, sometimes I wish I could do that. Sometimes I wish I could be just one of those guys that, goes to college, finds a good group of guys. And I have found a good group of guys, but sometimes I do wonder what it would be like to be content with a normal life. And for me, I just can't do that. My brain is not wired that way. I can't fathom the thought of living a normal life. And again, like I've said, if you live a normal life, it's whatever. I don't care. I don't judge you for that. I still love everybody, and I don't want that to sound like a woke thing, but it's the truth. But yeah, I think that's why a lot of people, and your competition is going to tap out eventually, because the lack of knowledge of the future is so scary. And it's one of the scariest thoughts you can go through, of not knowing what's going to happen, and knowing that if you fail, you could ruin your life forever. But there's really no risk, because for me, right, I'm a Christian guy, and I believe that if I trust God, everything will work out in the end. And again, I thought I was gonna have to go back to my hometown after like 3 days, because I was just so scared and stressed out about things. But I got this thought, and it was like, everything will be fine because God is on my side. And the next day I landed a potentially 6-figure job. And that's not the end goal. It's just kind of to fuel my funds for business. But I trusted God that everything would work out, and I stayed here instead of, tapping out and going back home. And here I am. So, yeah, just don't let the fear of failure, the fear of not knowing what's going to happen, stop you from chasing your dreams. Because the truth is, if you trust God or whatever you believe in, everything works out in the end. So I don't yeah, just don't fear, man. Everything will be fine. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is kind of like just the self-improvement space, and how much my perspective has kind of changed on that, because I used to make self-improvement YouTube videos. That was like my first business. And even though I used to glaze it so much, I don't really believe in self-improvement anymore. I believe that self-improvement, the problem with self-improvement is you're always in this mindset that you need to improve, not that you are improved. And when you're always in this state of I need to be better, instead of I am better, you fall back into bad habits. You fall back into the life you don't want to live because you have this mindset that you aren't that guy yet. So that's my big problem with everything like that. All of this content space, and the content space about improving your life and stuff, which you have to take the reps to get better, but you have to see yourself in a way that you already are that guy. Like, I used to think that speaking was something I needed to improve at. But once I saw myself as a better speaker, that's when I can start articulating my thoughts better. That's when I can start speaking with more conviction. But before that, I was just so caught up in the thought that I need to be a better speaker that I wouldn't speak right. So when I'm in that mindset, I'm always thinking about it, and I can't articulate my thoughts anymore because I'm always like, I need to speak better. I need to do this certain this certain voice thing. I don't know, bro. Like all of this stuff. Like you gotta change your voice tone and stuff, and all of this. And it's like, if I'm in my head that much about improving, then I'm not leaving any mental energy, mental space for me to actually execute and perform the way I want to perform. It's the same with sales. I mean, that's what I'm getting into, is a sales job. It's like, yeah, you can autistically focus on all the scripts, all of the objections that you have to go through and stuff. But if you just calm down and let yourself perform, you're going to be making the actual progress to get the sale, to close that deal. Or same with like business. You can hold yourself back. Like not charging enough. You're the imposter syndrome, which is a real thing. I struggle with it to this day. But until you have to execute and you have to let yourself perform, instead of letting your mind convince you that you aren't worthy of it. Let somebody else convince you that you're not worthy for it. Let somebody else tell you you're terrible at, for instance, video editing. I do video editing. I'm going to let somebody else tell me I'm bad at it before I exclude myself from it. Because I would rather fail, but at least try, instead of failing in my mind before I even do try. So that's the problem with the improvement space, is you're always in this state of I need to be better, and instead of letting yourself get better, because it just keeps you stuck in this cycle. So you just got to be careful with that. It's not self-improvement anymore. It's just lifestyle. You're not trying to get better in the gym. You just are consistent at it. You eat clean and you push yourself every single day. That's just your lifestyle. It's not that you improved your life. You just made a new one. And having this mindset instead of the self-improvement mindset has really helped me turn on the retard mode and just execute. Instead of just thinking about executing and how I can execute better, I just do it now. And yeah, I mean, that's the other problem with like a lot of people. Like that's what I've had to cut off a lot of people and stuff, because it was just always I'm so proud of you. you're chasing your dreams, and like, oh, you're so brave, bro. And I used to be, I actually, the guy that I live with right now, I was the same way. I was like, oh yeah, you're so brave, man. But I wasn't doing anything with my own life. I wasn't living the risk he was living because I was too scared. And the problem with a lot of people is they would like the idea of going for it all, but they don't do it themselves because it is so much more mentally taxing than anybody realizes. And nobody can explain it through a YouTube video. Nobody can explain it through, just story over a campfire. Nobody can explain it until you go through it yourself. And look, my roommate, basically, he's gone through a lot more than I have. And I understand that his stress tolerance is probably a lot higher than mine. But at least, I'm going for it all now. And we're both really pushing towards our goals. But there's a lot of, people out there that they just want to see you win instead of actually winning themselves. And if you're one of those guys, I mean, just, it's not selfish to want a better life for yourself. It's not selfish to get mad at, somebody that's doing better than you, in a healthy way, obviously. Like, get mad that you haven't been performing the way you should be. Don't get mad that your competition is doing better than you. Don't get mad that your competition is outperforming you. Get inspired, but also get mad that they could run your life better than you can, better than you are right now. So that's been a thought that I've really thought about recently. I saw it on Instagram once. It was like, get mad at the thought that somebody can come into your life and run it 10 times better than you. And I was like, scrolling has been a problem for me, and that's why I saw that reel. But I was like, yeah, like, somebody can come into my life. Somebody could come and pause. But somebody could go into my life, take my spot, and run it 10 times better than I can right now. And that was like a wake-up call. It was like, what am I doing to hold myself back? And it's been scrolling. It's been, hanging out with friends too much. And I love my friends, but sometimes I need to have solitude. And so I just need to completely focus on work, on just thugging out things, getting things done. And it's just, yeah, it's so much deeper than people will talk about. And again, it's cliche, everybody says this, but you can't understand it until you have to go through it. And it's a beautiful thing. It really is. I mean, sacrificing all of this for a better future is truly beautiful. I mean, I'm very grateful to be in this opportunity, and God is good, even though I went through a lot of things. I went through a low point when I first got here. Now I'm more stabilized. I realized that even though I was so scared, everything worked out in the end. And literally always, there's always a plan for you. And God knows that you're going to get through it. He already knows that you can. And so the one thing you don't need to do is just stress. You're obviously going to have to stress, but it really does help a lot when you have an anchor, and that anchor is God. So yeah, it's been a journey, man. Miami, that's where I'm at, the Miami area. Like I said, I have a sales job here now. I'm also doing video editing. It's crazy. It's more common to see like BMW an Audi and Mercedes than it is to see like a Ford. Well, maybe not that much. Well, I don't know, but it's there's levels to this. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. But yeah, just understand that everything does work out, and the biggest risk the biggest risk you can ever take is staying stuck in your hometown. The biggest risk you can ever take is not chasing your goals, because you're going to risk living a life that you don't want to live for your entire life. That's the biggest risk. There's no reason not to go for it, because look, I'm here right now. Worst case scenario, which will not happen. Worst case, I just go back to my old life. And I already know it. It's not terrible, but I don't want to live like that. That's the worst case scenario. So I may as well go for everything. I may as well go for it all, because there is no risk. The biggest risk is staying where you are. So I'm not saying you have to move across the country. I'm not saying that. For me, I needed to. I just had the opportunity. It's good for me to build myself up. But, you've got to change something. You got to change the way you think. You got to change your whole entire belief system to make real progress. And it can be done, but it's really hard to do it in your hometown. It's really hard to do it in your parents' basement, because you're so used to your old life, and it's so easy to access who you used to be. So it's good to leave your hometown when you can. Now, don't take this as gospel. This is just how my mind works. This is just how it's going for me. But I'm assuming, whoever watches this, if anybody watches it, I hope you relate to it. And I hope that the thoughts that I have, you have them too. And, follow me on Instagram, bro. And if you need any questions, just hit me up in the DMs. If you want to subscribe, that would be nice. It's up to you, though. But yeah, that's about all I got. 20 minutes we're at. So if you enjoyed this, I'm glad you did. Remember, God is good, and there is no failure. You always will make it if you just try. So God bless.